Hi everyone, this is episode 1. I'll be talking a little bit about my novel from the early stages, and I'll be just answering a few questions that I wrote myself about those early stages of writing the novel. So, what's the novel about? It's about an aid organization that is under investigation. The CEO of the organization is being investigated by the government for allegedly stealing funds, donation money, and pocketing it for himself, funneling a lot of the donation funds into his private bank account. The CEO, whose name is Wahid, has fled the country, allegedly, after being discovered of his alleged crime. But he's left a folder or a file to his closest associate. Her name is Sarah, and Sarah is left to piece together the facts of the investigation to investigate whether Wahid, her associate, is actually guilty of embezzling the donation money, or if he is perhaps being set up by someone else. So how did I pick this topic, or how did I pick this genre? Well, I really love crime novels. I really love investigation stories. I really like getting into details about true crime, and I always hear news in the kingdom or bits and pieces of the news that talk about people stealing money, or people at high levels stealing large sums and then getting away with it, or maybe serving petty sentences in a penitentiary. And I thought what would be great is to fictionalize an account and really go into detail, or see how much I could fabricate using the bits and pieces that I take from the news. The story is totally fictional, but certainly a lot of the key pieces of the story do sound realistic, and I think that that's something that would probably make it readable, and probably make Jordanians or people that are living in this kingdom sort of resonate or feel true, feel like it's not just a totally fictional account, that yes, it could happen, maybe it has already happened, something that people might enjoy reading. Have I ever taken any writing courses? I haven't taken any writing courses professionally or in college, but I've read a couple of books about writing, about the craft of writing, about the philosophy of writing, and I have read extensively in the genre and outside of the genre of crime, and I think that this is my foray into the genre, and I'd really like to learn how to write suspense. I'd really like to explore writing in general as well. When did I begin writing the novel? I began writing it in March in 2016, and it was after hearing a couple of interesting news stories from around the world, but also a couple particular ones from Jordan, from the kingdom, and it was one sleepless night. I really couldn't get any sleep, so I kind of got up. I got out of bed, and I remember this quite vividly. I got up at about around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just started outlining this idea that I had for a story, and I'd been outlining that year, I guess. I had a lot on my mind, and in 2015 I had been experimenting with short stories. I never even thought about writing a novel, but I thought, I can't sleep, might as well start outlining a story. I don't know if I could begin a novel, but an outline turned into a couple of weaved together. I was starting to weave together some short story ideas, and I started working on a novel. I guess that's kind of where that was the genesis. That was where it all started. How do I write when I get down to business? I usually will sit with a notebook, and I will write out a few drafts by hand. I will sit, and I'll usually do this for a couple of weeks. I'll compile as much writing as I can, and then after I've reached an end of a chapter or of a part, I'll usually then take all of that information and type it up, and that's what I've been doing recently. I don't usually find it very conducive to strong writing if I just sit in front of a computer. It's a bit intimidating to sit in front of a a screen. There are so many distractions, and I usually try to limit the writing when I do it in the notebooks that I collect. I usually sit for around an hour, maybe an hour and a half. That's as long as I can sit in one go, as much attention that I can give to it. Otherwise, my concentration breaks after a while. The final question is, what is my deadline? And my deadline, like I said in my first video, is the end of this month, the end of the month of July. My main deadline, the big deadline, would probably be the end of 2019, and perhaps into 2020, depends on how much work I can complete in that time. And that's all I'll talk about for right now. In the next episode, I'll talk a little bit more about my first draft, how much I came up with in the beginning, what particularly struck me as good writing, and what I could start getting rid of, what I kept, and things like that. Thanks for watching.